Hello and welcome to the Navy Blue Corner. I'm Ian, joined as always by my good mate Lockie, and we are back with our first episode for 2024. It's going to be a massive year with plenty of exciting content coming your way. But first, Lockie, mate, how are you? How have you been in this break? Have you been enjoying it? And how keen are you for this season to begin?
I've enjoyed it, mate. But as we say, I think at this time every year, it's gone extremely quickly. Feels like yesterday we were, dissecting the end of the season and what a great season it was. But now that we're doing this, I'm raring to get back into it.
Yeah, no, it's been a nice little break, but so keen to get back into everything Carlton. And I think we spoke a couple of weeks ago when we were planning all the content that we've got coming up, saying, gee, there's something weird. Maybe I'm not as keen as I feel like I normally am. And then I reckoned within 2 days of us chatting, it was like, nah, I need the season to begin tomorrow. And yeah, as I said, we have plenty of content on the way to keep you busy throughout the preseason. We'll be previewing this season, giving our predictions, best 22s, and discussing all of the important stories that develop as we build up to the opening round. But before we get into all of the serious Carlton chatter, we thought we'd kick things off with a bit of fun by having a live draft. So with this, Lockie and I will be taking turns selecting one player at a time to ultimately build the best possible 22 players, of which we need you guys who are watching, who are listening to this, to help us decide whose team is better at the end. And this team that we are both trying to build will be made up of the best players that we have ever seen play live in person for Carlton. So Lockie and I, we were born in 1996. So I've decided that 2001 is probably the best jumping off point. So all we can do from this is select players from 2001 to now. And so in this, I guess you can kind of select some legends that maybe retired in 2001, but just to let you guys understand the kind of validity of this game is that you won't be getting that player in their prime. You'll be getting them in 2001, if that was the year that they retired, if that was the last year. So it's going to make things quite interesting. It's going to spice things up. And look, I've spoken for way too long before we've even got started in this draft. So let's get going. And the last time we held one, Lockie, unfortunately, I have to admit, you did beat me. You had the better team. So
Appreciate
I think it is only fair that you have the first selection in the best players we've ever seen Carlton draft.
Well, I'm going to be looking to extend this winning streak. I'm going to be taking this very seriously. Done a bit of preparation. It'll be a bit of a mix of kind of logic and reason and just also feel. But to kick things off, I did have to think a bit through this one. Two pretty clear candidates, I would have thought. But I needed to have a strong captain on this team, the man that has taken us further than anybody else in this time period. Give me Patrick Cripps as my skipper in the midfield.
Yeah, that's big. I do really, really like that pick. I think that's a strong one. I was definitely tossing
Wasn't your number one on the board, though?
He wouldn't have been my number one. So I think I am happy with that in the end. It does make my selection very interesting. And this is the part that I think I struggled with last time I was almost trying to predict who you were selecting, and I was worrying almost about who I was maybe not selecting rather than who I actually wanted to pick. And I maybe wasn't expecting you to go a midfielder there.
Interesting.
But maybe I was expecting you to go somewhere else. But look, I'm looking at my team right now, and my number one player is still on the board. I've got to pick Juddy. Juddy is going straight into my midfield. He's my skipper. He goes straight into the guts.
Wow. I was worried there that you were going to massively swerve and then it was just going to throw my whole draft board into chaos. But that's gone how I thought it was going to play out. But from there, I'm thinking about my structure. Need a good key forward. We haven't had a whole, there isn't a plethora of quality key forwards in this era, but I'm going to take who I think is going to be the best for my team, which is the dual reigning Coleman medalist, Charles Curnow.
Yeah, no, I love that pick. In fairness, that was my number one key forward. I like what you've done there in the key position stakes. I I see a man on this board who, what I love about him, and he was actually above Cripper on my board. I'll be honest.
Wow.
So therefore, I'm gonna have to select him here. I'm gonna maybe go a little bit rogue here because I love his versatility and what I can
want to do this.
Oh, 100%, because I'm not sure currently where exactly I'm going to chuck him in my lineup. He's someone that is going to move around the board. I'm going to chuck him, I guess, in the guts, somewhere in the guts as a follower at the moment. But I'm getting big Souvlaki Hut King himself. Kuda is going straight into my team.
Wow. That is a crazy pick. I respect it. We absolutely love Kuda. Big friend of the show, of course.
Exactly. Guess.
But I have to admit,
is that?
He was a bit down my board, but that's okay.
No,
what's the best version of Kuda to you?
Oh, it's hard. It would have been early. This is the issue. I'm not good at giving a year. I'm not going to absolutely destroy myself by giving a year.
I'm already trying to get the listener on my side here and show why Lockie's team's the GOAT. But anyway.
But it's just because he carried us so much in those early 2000s, still being our best player. And he has that ability, hopefully in my team with some better cattle around him, that he maybe doesn't just have to play in the midfield. I can send him down forward like we've seen him do throughout history and get those marks, go down in defense last gasp and win it for me. And I just love his versatility. Again, I'm bringing leaders to this team because I'm gonna need them to get this team to go forward. Premiership player. There's not many of those on this list, I guess.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, I feel like I knew who was going to go the top 4 picks, and so the number 4 guy for me is still on the board. But this is really hard. This could change the trajectory of this draft. All right, I think looking at the quality of the tall forwards that are going to be picked in this draft, I want to make sure that I've got a good number 1 guy in defense to be able to take that. So I'm going to go Jacob Wiedering at full back as my next pick.
No, I do really rate that. I think key position is definitely an area in this that honestly was a little bit of a worry looking past the first couple.
I know.
It definitely kind of drops a little bit, but no, I'm still very, very happy with my selections. I'm feeling very, very good. Now, I've got to get my man who this is maybe one of those picks that I stressed early on that I'm almost reacting to you a little bit, but
danger.
I think that grabbing 2 midfielders to start, there's a big hole currently in my forward line, and you taking Charlie, Fev is on the board, and I can't have you having both of the best key forwards we've ever had. So big Fevolution is locked straight into my forward line. Have to have the Fev.
Yep, well played. That was who I was tossing up between, and I was like, do I want just those absolute quality twin towers? But I'm really glad that I've got Wieders now to line up on Fev.
No. Good luck.
The combination that we loved back in the day that made our forward line nice and potent was the Fev Prime Eddie Betts combo. Prime Eddie Betts at Charlie's feet is what I'm going for with my next pick.
Yeah, so you definitely having this first pick has thrown a little bit into this. There's still plenty of talent available throughout.
Of course there is, mate.
Yeah, and this
is
only
where one team has Eddie Betts.
Look, you may have Eddie Betts, but I'm just going. Honestly, there's one position that I truly feel needs some more addressing, and I may be going a little bit early, but I just think there's one guy that is head and shoulders above everyone else in this position right now, and it's the ruck, and it's Matty Cruiser. I'm tossing up between some of the other players I've seen, DeLuca, Ackland, Robbie Warnock. It doesn't go very highly in the guys that I have seen, so I think I have to strike very quickly and bring in Cruiser into my lineup.
Yeah. That's an excellent selection. It's always a weird, I say always as if we do this every freaking week.
We do.
But it's a weird position now because now I feel like I can let my ruckman go a little bit. Now that Cruz is off the board, I'm not stressed about getting the ruckman for a while.
Well, you wait, because I'm getting a whole team of ruckman and you'll have no one to pick from.
You're going to take 300 marks a game and it's going to be, I don't mind that.
You better believe it.
Actually. All right. I'm trying to adapt as we go here. God, the structure is just so important. And knowing that we've got so many good mids on the board, I'm going to take who I see as the third best key tool that you can take here. And we're talking about this guy won the Coleman medal just in 2021. So give me Harry and Charlie as the combo that we love.
Yeah, see, that's just it's a bit boring for all the listeners and the viewers because
it's boring, but it's going to work.
No, because the fun part about this is getting to pick a team that maybe's never played together, and you're just picking the current
prime
lineup.
Eddie with the four best players in our team currently.
We saw Eddie Betts at the end. He's played with all these fellas. I'm pretty sure where we've said best players we've ever seen, Lockie, not best players in the last 5 years. I don't know if you saw anything pre 2018, but
no,
come on, mate. There was plenty.
I've been a Baggers fan since we made the finals this year. No, I'm going to be going older soon, so I'm just getting the quality off the board. You know, don't feel insecure, mate. Your team looks okay.
Okay, gee, it's starting early. Where should I go from here? There's just so many players that I really do want in this lineup. I think I may have to go a position that I'm worried about maybe losing out on again. It's that reactive second pick, but key position I don't love. And when I'm looking at the defense, there's only really a handful of guys I feel confident with. You've taken Wiedering, who was my D1. I've got to take my D2, Michael Jamison, as I live and breathe. The man himself is going straight as my fullback.
Yeah. I respect that. I think you had to do that. If I took Jammer off the board, I'd be in trouble. In real trouble with my
big trouble.
With my two. I appreciate you being nice and reactive to me with my picks. I feel like I've got you in my pocket already.
Just trying to make you think you are. I am, I guess.
So this is a bit of an interesting section. I feel like I want to get a mid, even though there is a plethora of them. I don't want you to be too much of a hater here, but this is a little bit more of a throwback pick. But I want prime Mark Murphy in my midfield with Cripper. Underrated how good that man was in those, in our really good years in the early 10s.
No, look, it's hard for me to say too much negatively about that pick. He was probably the next guy I had coming off the board. Just an absolute superstar, really, in that midfield. And about time you picked someone that actually
didn't.
Even though he still played with half these guys, but at least he retired a couple years ago. I guess that's all I can kind of say to it. Gee, there is still so much talent on the board, which is hard to say. Doing this, I was very worried quickly that seeing the amount of bad players, and maybe we need to do a worst players of Carlton,
that's in the cards.
Draft. Trying to look and see what my team is needing right now. I've got some two midfielders, got me ruck, got some key pillars. I think it's time to start looking around those fringes and who I can potentially bring in here. I'm very tempted to go into the defense. Do I bring a little small forward? I'm almost now just trying to pick who's that next best player available. Is that what I go? Do I stop worrying about need and do I just bring in the very next best player? And I think I will.
Got you right, Watcher.
Honestly, no. I'm just picking absolute superstars of the game here, and I'm going to go down your route. I'm going to pick someone who is a little bit more fresh to it. I'm going Sam Walsh. I really think that he's shown he can be one of the best, close to winning a Brownlow, and again for that versatility. Seeing my midfield at the moment, Juddy and Kuda, not necessarily blessed for an amazing amount of pace. So I'm going to throw Sam Walsh into that midfield for now, but who knows? Maybe he moves onto a wing. Maybe he moves into the forward line. Just needed a point of difference in my midfield.
I like it. I similarly am thinking about a guy that is quite versatile. Not sure exactly where I'm going to put him as a locked in position. So I'm going to put him off half back for now. Give me Sam Doherty.
Ooh, not who I thought you were going with there. That's big.
Yep.
That's big.
I was
Sam
choosing
Doherty, I
between
do like it.
two. There might have been another guy you were thinking of, so hopefully you'll leave him for me.
No, that is very tasty, very tasty. I was really hoping you were going to take a little bit longer with your selection so I could really
See, this
pad
is
out
all
some
part of
time
the plan.
and try to figure out who I want. There's still so much talent in a few areas that I think I'm happy to just let you pick a couple of those guys and go for it. Having a look. Oh, do I just keep stockpiling these midfielders up? Oh, you know what? I'm going to select a player, and this may be controversial. This may be quite controversial, considering
listen up, everybody.
We are saying, best players we've ever seen, and starting from 01, and the last season of this player was 2002. But honestly, wow. I feel like this guy could have just kept going. He was quite old when he retired, but the man still, if you look at his stats, was still just dominating the ball when he had it. I might sneakily chuck him on a wing for now, but he could go anywhere. It is, of course, Craig Bradley is coming straight into my lineup as one of their best players that I have ever seen play for the Baggers.
Respect. Where are you slotting him in?
Chuck him on a wing for now, I think. He did play a fair bit of football there, and he's versatile again. Who cares where he plays as long as he's in my starting team?
Yeah. No, I respect that pick a lot. I'm really liking this versatility route right now because I don't know who I'm going to be kind of left with in 5-8 picks time. So one of my favorite players ever. Give me Cade Simpson on a wing.
That's who I thought you were going with the Sam Doherty pick. Did that just fall perfectly? I
was tossing up between the two. Yeah, I'm glad that you took Braddles, even though, of course, a Carlton legend. But I'm very happy with where I'm sitting.
No, I do like a couple of your picks. Maybe they're just not as good as mine, though. Is where I'll kind of look at things. So I'm going to look towards my forward line. I really think this is where some talent.
Shallow down there.
See, I wouldn't say that. You just clear out and let Fev be there all by himself. But
it's not bad.
I'm going to grab. I'm tossing up between two players. I might actually just quickly see how many career goals, and that might decide who this goes between. Let's bring up these two forwards here because I'm thinking I want another little marking target, someone that just can absolutely dominate for me. And you know what? There's one man that I'm going to select, and it is Matty Lappin. I love that you talk about a bit of versatility. He can play small. He can leap throughout the air and kicks a massive amount of goals. Mate, he kicked 221 goals for Carlton. Give me Matty Lappin.
It's pretty good. He was next on my list, so I'll have to give you some kudos there.
Sucked in, buddy. About time. Number one, he almost was for me. Just behind Eddie Betts, I think.
Wowee. So I'm looking at your team. Now I'm feeling a bit reactive.
Yeah,
I see that you've got Juddy, Cooter, and Walshy as your mids. So I feel like I want to lock in my other centre bounce man. And there's just no way that I can go past this guy. I mean, we've done a whole bunch of picks, and this guy's still on the board. Bryce Gibbs, Bryce Gibbs in that midfield. Is pretty tasty. All we need now is Barnaby French in the ruck, and we're sitting pretty.
And watch out, because he's a potential forward pocket for me. I love a little sneaky sneak there. We love a tall man in the forward line. But no, you've kind of played, honestly, right into my hands here because, mate, I want
this will be good.
Fire, power. So I'm going to go the next guy that I had. I was tossing between. It's worked perfectly. Give me... And again, versatility. Can play down forward if I need to. If I'm desperate, can go down back as well. But I want a flashy team. And if I'm looking at who I've got currently, Juddy bursting through the midfield. I've got Craig Bradley on the wing. I've got Cruiser tapping it down to Cooter and Walshy. I got the Fevolution sitting there in the forward line. Lappin's flying all over the place. I need someone to support Matty Lappin. And of course, it's going to be Sky Walker himself, Andrew Walker. On my half forward line. Thank you very much.
Oh, I feel bad that you have to, sell these picks so much to the listeners to get them on your side. For me, it's just straight and narrow.
Just excited.
Let's just get no. Let's just get two elite wingmen on either side of the ground. Cade Simpson on one, Scott Camperelli on the other.
It's an okay pick. Okay pick. Old fella.
You
Was he
Campo.
past his prime? Was he past his prime
come
at this
on.
stage? Went to Essendon. Is that going to give you the votes with the fans? I don't know. Don't rate the pick. Don't rate the pick.
Interesting. Oh, you're scared. You're scared.
No, but it's worked very, very well for me because
of course it has. Every time it works well.
Just keep doing what I want you to do. I am looking at a man who, again, maybe we didn't see a ridiculous amount of him in our time. He was one of those heroes growing up, but some may say, was he past his peak? These are his winding down years. I don't think so. All Australian in 01, BNF in 03. Give me Andrew McKay.
God, you got me all swept up there, and I forgot to even think about what my next pick would be. So now I feel like you. I am unsure where I want to go with this pick.
I've rattled you. That's it.
You've rattled me a bit. I'm looking at the guys that I'm thinking about, and they're all small to medium sized players that I like in this section. Even though I do need to grab a good centre half back at some stage. But having said that, you don't have a good key forward as of yet. So I shouldn't be too worried about that. Mate, Jacob Wiedering is not going to let that man touch the ball coming in.
Good luck. Good luck trying to... Yeah, mate, you can try to keep Fev down, but I got men flying everywhere. Good luck, Weeders.
Okay. I know that you're, for some reason, a hater on the guys that are like part of our current team. I'm not sure why you're looking in rose-colored glasses and you've forgotten that we just made a prelim. But one man, we had Scott Camperelli with the Essendon connection. Give me some more of that beautiful Bombers stuff.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Lockie's lost it. Lost the people's vote here.
I have lost the plot. No. I'm very, very happy to have Adam Sard on the other halfback.
Okay. That's okay. Very down.
All Australian, mate. Just did you forget about that? Have you not seen this man play? Never miss a target, cool under pressure in all situations.
Yeah, look, it's a fine pick, but yeah, I think you could have done a little bit better.
Mate, I couldn't be happier with this team at this stage, but
no, I'm very, 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 very stoked with mine. Now, I think I'm going to select a player that I was very close to getting earlier at one of my picks, but I'm just trying to shore up my team, get everything absolutely locked and loaded. It's the only position I don't think I've picked enough of. So I'm going down defense, and I'm probably getting, honestly, one of my favorite players that's ever played for Carlton, because he can go into the wing if you need him to. He can go down back, either foot. Probably the best kick I think that I've ever seen play for Carlton, which may be controversial for one of your favorite players, but it is, of course, the big man, Heath Scotland, going straight to a little back pocket for me.
Look, I don't want to talk you up too much, but it's a good pick.
Great.
It's a good pick, mate. Oh, I'm getting so lost in the moment. Too swept up in all of this. Let me think. Do you have anything that you want to tell the listeners? Plug anything for this season while I have a think?
Your pick. Clock is ticking. I almost need that dramatic clock ticking music for you here. Panicking. Sweating.
I feel it. I am panicking. I'm tempted to just take my ruckman
Barnaby
because I'm flustered. So you know what? No, I don't want to take my ruckman yet. Don't do that long. Nice. Come on, mate. What are we looking at? We've got my two beautiful key forwards in Harry and Charlie. Got Eddie Betts at their feet. Who do I want to put as a guy to go with them? All right. You know what? I'm going to kind of go your route a little bit here.
Okay.
I don't necessarily...
Here we go. He's having to justify it quickly. I love this.
Oh, my God. I can't believe the stress that I'm being put under here.
Under the pump. No, continue. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. I feel like... I don't know what your reaction is going to be to this. Hang on, let me just look something up. My God. I've never felt so flustered. I know, mate, it's all good.
You don't even need to say it. I'm happy to just plug in Cameron Cloak for you if you're after.
No.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm thinking about going a pure spite pick. No, that's not fair. Not a pure spite
Okay,
pick.
go for it.
He was a great player, but it's someone that I just want to have in my team and fits my structure.
Does he? Go for it.
Oh, dearie me. All right. Give me Brad Fisher on half forward.
Oh, there you go. Ooh.
I want my third kind of marking option.
Yep. Okay.
With my two tools. And I'm looking at the guys available and I'm just not loving what I'm seeing.
Yep.
Brad Fisher, the man who did not get to 100 games.
99.
One short. Boy, could he have been a problem if he got a better run at it. I like that for my structure, and I know you're a Brad Fisher man, so I feel good about that.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely wasn't someone
stage,
I was planning and getting.
If the ball's coming into my forward line, I don't know who is going to be keeping it out. Michael Jamison is your best.
He's superstar.
I mean,
absolute superstar.
Okay, I feel good about that. Now you take a long time for this, so I can think.
I honestly am going to be very, very quick with this one. Very, very quick with this. Or maybe not. Maybe I might spruik a little surprise.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look again and see what talent is available. Again, I only have the one. Key tools maybe lacking a little bit at this stage. I've really tried to just
severely
pad out
lacking
the rest of my team just because there's so many superstars everywhere else. It was like, who needs a key position? I'm just going to beat you on the ground. I'm too fast, too strong. You're just not going to. If Matty Cruz is in the ruck, good luck finding the ball. But I'm going to have a look at a couple of plays in defense potentially just to maybe shore things up a little bit. And I will admit, this is probably the area where key tools isn't great. It isn't great. Let's
go ahead and take one that isn't great.
Well,
we heard you.
So you say that, but I may just go and get one of the greatest ones we've ever had in Stephen Silvani. I know it was his last couple of years.
Just remember the criteria, people, when you're listening. Just remember.
It was his 01 was his last season, but I'm looking at the crop and it doesn't matter. Stephen Silvani, class through and through. Chuck him in my defense, please, mate. My team could be that good that he could just be in a back pocket. Float him forward at stages. He'll kick goals. It's absolutely fine. Defense is beautiful.
I wouldn't say so exactly.
I'm a superstar.
But I think I'm going to go a similar route in terms of going for a bit of a blast from the past. This guy, All-Australian in 2001, still averaging 26 touches a game at that stage. Unbelievable that he's still on the board. Don't know exactly where I'm going to slot him yet. I might do some rejigging.
Does not have a spot.
But let's get Brett Ratton in my team.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Can't believe he was still on the board. That may just be the steal of the day.
So I'm not sure. I don't think he fits into my midfield. I need other players. I need better players, I think, for me. And he was a good player. Was he the superstar that we require? Maybe not. But now I'm looking.
Feel great about it.
Back to my team here, and again, I love every bit that I look at it. And honestly, there's one player who, again, we're talking about the best that you ever saw of this player, and I honestly think that the best we ever saw of this player was so bloody good that I just got to pick him. It is Chris Yarran. Get him off the halfback. Running through, good luck stopping anything. You're never going to have the ball here. This is it's a powerhouse team. It's power running. It's physicality. It's got everything. Undefeated, this team.
Interesting. Oh, yes, I was thinking about Yarran as well, but I'm glad that you got your man. All right, let me just do my thing. You're going to be looking to snap up another key tall at some stage.
Maybe.
So down forward, that is. So I don't want you to try and get cheeky with it. Give me TDK as my guy going up against Cruz and to just dominate him with everything that we love about TDK.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So it's okay.
I'm happy that my midfield's locked in, and my goodness, it looks threatening.
It's par. If you want to say
player, that. Do you want to call out a player that you think is not quality in that midfield? Please, be my guest.
I'm happy to sit here and just be absolutely fine by anything.
That's what I thought.
You say, because I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it at this stage. This is honestly really the tricky part, trying to fill this team out. There is a bit of trying to predict what you're up to, where I need to go. And
I know my next pick.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to pick a guy who maybe goes against my strategy with this. I don't believe you're going to pick him, but there's that little thought in my head that every time you go to select a player, I'm so worried that you're going to take him and my team structure is just going to disappear. And again, he's versatile. He can do a lot of things, but I'm going to go for a key forward. I'm going to lock my forward line in, and there's two players to look at for me through this. I'm going to name them both for you. It's big Lance Whitnell and it's big Jared Waite. But when I'm looking at who I'm going to select between these two guys, it's from 2001 onwards. Now, in 2001, big Lance got his 37 goals. But, mate, we've had a man get 36, but I think he's better. I think he's more versatile. Give me Jared Waite in that forward line.
Sure. Yeah, look, I mean, you had to do what you had to do. Take a forward that isn't really in the same caliber as my guys, but
can your forwards, mate? I've got two of the most wild child forwards of all time. Do your forwards get suspended all the time? Do your forwards just want to throw a punch on the field sometimes? Do something a bit silly? Do they want to kick goals? Do they want to maybe play in the defense like a Jared Waite can? I don't think so. I don't think they can.
Well, I feel like it's about time that I get someone to man up on Jared Waite in this team. I'm just doing a quick little Google just to make sure that I'm happy with selection.
Did he play?
Two guys that Yeah, he did play for Carlton, which is good.
Levi.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with my heart here and think about to some of the fond Carlton years in our childhood. I'm going to take Lockie Henderson as my centre halfback.
Interesting. Remember, it's Carlton years. It's not the Geelong years.
Absolutely. Mate, he finished third in our best and fairest back in the day. And I like the Wiedering-Henderson combination. I'm looking very mobile. We're going to take some nice inset marks down there. I honestly feel bad for Fev and Waite up forward with the lack of supply that's going to be getting to their mitts.
God, it's a team of traitors, I really believe. You've got Henderson there, mate. Camporelli went at the end. It's just Eddie Betts left us. I mean, how many more?
Coaches, by the way?
Bryce Gibbs picked us. Oh, geez, that's got to be tasty if we do. Mick Malthouse.
I think we should.
Surely. Can I pick him now? Actually, we're going to chat. Yeah, let's go. We can also pick coaches.
I didn't think of doing coaches.
Oh, that's spicy. That's good. I do like that. Hang on. Does that count? Because can I pick Ratton?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that when it was my
in your
pick.
team. If he's also in your team, am I allowed to get him? Can we have two Brett Rattons?
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Because if so, I'm saying we can't pick coaches because I've been absolutely stitched up on that one.
No, but oh wow.
I feel like we're allowed. It's a separate player. You can have if you want Brett Ratton twice.
He's his own player. He's his own player.
You're allowed to get him twice.
I like it.
That's big. Big on the coaches. No, your teams. It's definitely a team. Good. It's definitely a team.
A winning team, did you say?
No, I'd said a team. I'm looking at everything here, and there's still so many. There's still so many guns. There are still so many guns running around the fields. where can we go? Where can we go with this? Who is an absolute superstar that I still need to plug in to this lineup? There's still talent. I'm just trying to find the right fit now. There's a few different positions I can shore up. And look, honestly, I'm going to go for pure ball use on this pick. He's had his detractors for years, me also saying that, but I need that guy. If you're saying my forward line, the talls aren't that good, and I'm going to have to worry about the interceptability of some of your players, I'm just going to get great kickers. I've got Scotland in that team, mate. I've got Braddles. I've got some superstars, and I'm just going to add Ryan Houlihan into my half forward line as a man who just is class by foot.
Wow. Unbelievable.
And I just want to say this now. I rated all the sort of small general forwards. I have 3 out of my top 4. Eddie Betts was the only one I didn't have out of that. So I'm so happy with my forward line.
That's good, mate. You've, I guess, probably arguably the least relevant position on the field.
Well, the ones that kick goals.
That's great.
Enjoy it.
I think, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get too stuck into you, mate. I don't want you to feel too bad. That's a good pick, Houlihan. That's a funny one because I definitely over the years you've been saying to me that didn't rate him back in the day, that kind of
big
thing.
Big calls.
But I was a big fan, so I would have been happy to have him on my team. But I just need the people to know where we're at here. Oh, it's getting to an interesting stage, isn't it?
It is.
I'm going to go with a guy.
I hope so.
Yeah. I'm going to go. How many times have we said that? We need a counter of how many times we say. I'm going to pick a player. I've obviously picked Scott Camporelli, Adam Saad.
Yep.
The Essendon connection is there.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about this bloke, I think about some of the times that he absolutely torched that team. So I'm very happy to put Andrew Carazzo in my team. Another underrated player, and just some class in this team. Another big ball winner. If I need him to do a job on Juddy, if maybe he has a good quarter or whatever, let's put carrots to him and shut him down.
That's not too bad. I am going to select the next forward that I have on my list here. I want to get my top 5 basically, and I can see I'm looking at your team right now. You got Eddie Betts, you got Brad Fisher. You don't have a lot of players at the feet, and that's why I'm going to snag the next best one. At time of recording it, there's 38 days to go until the season launches, and so I'm going to get 38 himself because, as the great man did say, it would be fitting. Jeffy Garlett straight into my forward pocket to round out my forward line. I know that's one that is going to hurt you, Lockie.
It does. And I hate to admit it, but he was going to be my next selected. Very, very interesting. You just have to take a second to just look at what we're working with here. I'm looking at... actually, I don't want to give anything away to you, so I'm not going to do that.
Let me know.
I'm still lacking a couple of smaller defenders and the couple of smaller forwards, like you said.
I got them all pretty much. That's why you're struggling.
I mean, as I said, kind of not really the most important position on the field as I see it, but it's good that you've snapped them up. Interesting. Again, I want you to see if you can plug anything to the people while I do this.
No, I'm good. Okay, I'll be nice.
No, go ahead.
I'll be very nice because as we've been talking about throughout this episode,
I'm taking this seriously.
We've been pretty aggressive towards each other in trying to say our team's better. And honestly, at the end of this, once the teams are selected, we're going to get a couple of minutes each to go through, talk about, and try to convince you guys why we selected the best team compared to the other guy. Now, the best way to make sure that you are heard, if you're watching this on YouTube, chuck at the end, once you've seen the full lineups and you've heard our chatter around the teams, let us know in the comments below on YouTube whose team you prefer. If you're listening in podcast form, go on to the socials at Navy Blue Corner. Links will be in the show notes. DM us, tweet at us, do whatever you need to do. I'm sure we will chuck up these teams on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. So you can comment there or reply to the stories, all of those things at Navy Blue Corner. Nice and easy, because we need you to decide, because I'm going to say my team's the best. Lockie's going to say his is. We need a true decider. Last time it was Lockie. Don't think it will be this time, and I'm excited to be crowned victorious. But look, I've been nice there, Lockie, and hopefully, that carries some favors with the audience that know that I've been very nice, allowing you some time to make your selection here. Who would you like to botch with this selection?
Wowee. Boy, it's all happening. All right. I am really happy with my halfbacks, Sam Doherty and Adam Sard. But I want to be able to pair them with someone from back in the day as well. So I'm very excited to have and welcome international Zach Tui to my team.
Yeah, definitely played better football somewhere else, like a few of your players in that back line. Big trader team you've got here.
Who was your first selection again, mate?
Just one of the greats. One of the
greatest. Eagles.
He came to us. At least he knew he wanted to come to us. But I also like looking at the defense, and I've just started. Stephen Silvani, he's Scotland. McKay, Yaron, Jamison. But I'm hearing you. I know there's not a lot in your team that I am worried about. Probably the only thing is you do have some good aerial players. And so I probably need to shore up my defense with one more just marking beast is what I'm looking for. Someone with a bit of height. I know there's not a big chunk of key defenders left, but this guy, he probably struggled a little bit at times when he had to match up on the number one key forward. On the number one key forward. And guess what? That's not what he has to do in my team. And I'm looking at some stats here. I'll throw this to you because we're from 2001 all the way up to 2024. And this man in 2009, mate, he took 167 marks throughout the season. This man is going to be so good as my third tall. It is, of course, Brett T-Bird. I'm struggling to even say his name. I'm that excited. It's Brett Carlton in my defense. We love it. One of the greats.
One of the greats, you reckon?
Yeah. Well, you don't. Gee, that's a bit harsh for one of our superstars.
No, we love T-Bird, and I'm just getting distracted because honestly, I'm just getting really excited about this pick.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Because what we're doing today is we're talking about the best that we've seen.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here?
Yep.
If you think about the best games that we have seen in our time as Carlton fans, obviously this recent final series, and then there's some finals back in the day that we hold close to our hearts. 2013 Richmond is probably the one that I hold closest to my heart. And so if I'm going to put someone else in my forward line, I'm going to put in a man that performed like no one else we've ever seen.
In one game.
If you need someone to pop up and kick 4 in a game, give me Nick Duigan on half forward.
You can absolutely have him. The game
vibes in this
player.
Forward line are so high, and played arguably a better game than most guys on your team. So I feel really good about that.
Gee, I'm not sure I'd agree with that. Not sure I would agree with that. However, looking at my team now, defense is absolutely stacked, mate. Forward line, absolutely stacked. Maybe need to have a look at a couple of midfielders just to add to the superstars. Again, I'll just let you know who we've got there. We got Juddy, we got Cooter, we got Walshy, we got Craig Bradley, we've got Cruiser tapping it down to him. Just elite bodies, absolutely everywhere. And I'm feeling like I need a little bit more pace in there. And so I'm going to get a guy who he's a little bit at the start of his career, but I think already last season in particular, I've seen enough. I have seen enough. Give me Adam Chera, please.
Yep. Decent pick. But I'm very, very happy to take the man. This guy has been just staring at me on my draft board for a while, and I've been going in other directions, just denying him. And I'm very glad that I've still got him, because I know that you're a fan of this guy too. Back in the day, in the early days of us being Carlton fans, give me Nick Stevens.
Yeah. See, look, potentially would have been
elite,
a good pick before, I guess, some of the alleged activities that have happened outside of
I need a ruling on that, because that is outside of the parameters of this game.
Well, I think if anyone's winning that, I've got Chris Yarran, and so I beat you on the off-field, beat you on the on-field. But that's unfortunately, what those boys did. So that's not good. But their footballing ability is what we're putting into question here.
2005 Nick Stevens was a problem.
Definitely a problem. Yeah. You said it perfectly there. I'm going to have a look back. Trying again. What do we need? And there's one position. There's one. No, I'm not. I know exactly what I'm picking. Knew it before I even started. And I'm looking at a dead spot on my wing. There is an empty position there. And you just mentioned, let's have a look at recent times. Who just starred for us in those big moments, in those big finals? And there is a man who basically wins us every game of football he plays, for defensive acts, for match-winning goals. Give me Blake Acres onto that wing, because peak Blakers is just a superstar.
Yeah, no, I respect that. I'm going to go to another guy, because I'm going to finish off my absolutely, I hate to say it, but elite backline with my 4 kind of small half-back vibe guys: Zach Tui, Adam Sard, Sam Doherty, and the man that was once called the most underrated man in the AFL and now is being recognised properly, Nick Newman.
Yeah, look, it's a snazzy one. No Blake Acres, that's for certain.
3 picks left for you, my friend.
3 picks left, all bench spots basically for me now. And I can do honestly a lot with these. Now, this is an interesting bit. Do you just go best available talent throughout each position? Is there a position that maybe struggling to find someone else who could be that absolute superstar potentially? Where do we go from here? And the team, I'm just so excited. By what I'm seeing here, and so I'm just taking off a couple of the players you've selected, just updating my board, just nice and casual. And I'm looking at finishing the midfield. I think I'll go one more big old midfielder. And looking at some of the players I think that are available here, just going to name them for you. You've got, your Brock McLeans, hard-nosed. Ed Kerno did a lot for us, maybe had some deficiencies here or there, same as a Brock McLean. Kennedy has shown some good things, but, has some deficiencies. Franchina the same. So I'm just going to go George Hewitt. I think that's such an easy pick for me. George Hewitt straight into the bench for me. What a selection.
Probably the most boring pick of the draft so far, I would have thought. I feel like the listeners will agree, but obviously I'm a big George Hewitt stan, so that's cool. With me, I am going to finish my on-field squad here. And I do, you called me out on it earlier, the fact that Eddie Betts was my one kind of, genuine small forward here. So I feel like it's only fitting a forward line that we would love to see together. Prime Eddie Betts with current Jesse Motlop.
Maybe hasn't shown enough.
Maybe
has not shown just enough.
The listeners know.
Yeah. Look, I like a bit of team balance here. I like some team balance. So I've got me 3 tall defenders. I think I may look for another smaller sized defender just to add to what I've got here. And I really like that. My big thing with this team, I don't think you're going to be able to compete with us physically we've just got absolute specimens out on the
Wow.
field. And another one of my favorite players, I talked about Heath Scotland. This is another guy I'm happy to pair in the defense. It's got to be Simon Wiggins. What an absolute gun, hard nut. Like, I'm just going to tackle you boys to the ground. You're never going to get up after these boys tackle you down. This is just something to behold.
We've made it. One final pick. And this is important. This is important. As I look at my team right now, I'm very happy with the spine that I'm working with Weeders and Hendo down back, Charlie and Harry up forward. Brad Fisher is my kind of medium type, but I feel like what I'm in the market for is one player that plays a little bit taller. Yep. A player that can potentially fill some different holes for me off the bench. And I'm deciding between two guys.
Yeah, there's no idea. Rattled.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move Lockie Henderson to my interchange. And again, put a player that we have to think back to just how good this guy was in his peak at Carlton. Liam Jones.
Liability.
Nobody is getting through that Wiedering-Jones combination. We've seen it. And I like the fact that I've got Henderson on my bench. You know, if we need some more firepower up forward, he can play there, be the intercept defender down back. I'm very happy.
No, it's interesting.
Remember when Liam Jones went about 7 years without losing a one-on-one? Because I remember.
The spoil machine. That's definitely something that he was known for. And I'm pretty happy with my next selection because I'm going to go rogue. I'm going to go with the most successful coach that we've had in this period. I'm going to go early, and I'm going to go Michael Voss, the man we got now, the man who's bringing the hope to the Carlton football team. Won us, you know, that semi-final, got us to a prelim, and he's only going to be better and better from here. There's no one else I'd want to hear a rev-up speech from. He could almost, I'd love to plug him in through this time period as a player as well, but he knows the boys. He can get it done. Michael Voss is my coach with one last pick on field for me now that your team is done.
Well, I hope the listeners are kind of considering all the criteria here. I was expecting that I, as the first pick, was going to get to have my pick of the coaches.
No, it was available at any time.
Which is interesting. I applaud the selection, but I hope the listeners kind of, you know, understand where we were 20 minutes ago when we added the coach in.
You maybe should have asked for clarification. I think that's on you for just not really understanding the rules of this game.
Are we going to go president? Are we going to go chuck a runner in there as well? Like,
do we go lunch lady? Do we go tea lady? Guy putting the cones out on the field. How
we all have our favourites.
Yeah,
we'll have our favourites in that regard. Interesting. Well, we both believe that coaching doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So
there's some when you don't have Vossi.
Very, very happy with this. So the ruling that we're going with is that I can indeed have a captain coach, but
different
5
errors.
Years apart.
Yes,
in age.
I'll allow it.
Well, I kind of like the vibes there, so I am going to go Brats as my coach.
I think that was half my thing. I was like, I just can't have a guy who's also playing on the opposition. It just doesn't feel right. But this is honestly, it might be my hardest selection because there's a few players that I'm really looking at here. And judging by my team, I feel like it has to be a forward.
There's a lot of
that's
players
how I
left,
kind
mate.
of, that's how I like my teams. I like, my 7 defenders, fill the mids on the field, get 2 on the bench, and then have my 7 forwards. And having a look at it, I've got Waite, I've got Fev, I've got some mid-sizes in some Walker, Lappin, Houlihan can go through there, Walshy, Chera. I've got so many players that can roll off that forward line. If I'm desperate, Yaron can go down there as well. But maybe I need just a point of difference tall, someone that I can just throw in somewhere necessary. And I'm just going to go for a big man who, honestly, he doesn't even need to be out there for that long. He's just going to make an impact. And is there part of this selection the fact that I made the thumbnail before and he hasn't been selected yet, and there's no chance that I'm taking him out of the thumbnail? Maybe you could argue that. I wouldn't necessarily say that.
That's
but
a weak way to select.
Lance Whitnell is going to be in this team. And honestly, like, maybe this is a part of my pitch and I'm going a bit early, but you've said you've got key forwards. Who's going to stop them? And maybe you scoff at Silvani, you scoff at Thornton, Jamison. Well, guess what? Waite can go down there.
Scoff.
Whitnell can go down there. I've got rotation City, but at the end of the day, these guys kicked goals as well. And that's all I'm needing in this team. Very, very, very happy with what we've seen.
I appreciate you kind of talking down your own team for me. I don't even have to do that. So that's great. All right, you ready for me to sell this bad boy?
Go for it. Floor is yours.
I mean, I don't feel like I even need to. People
Actually,
on YouTube can see it.
I feel like, sorry, just to cut you off, it's what I do best. But I think for the listeners who aren't on YouTube, that aren't able to see the team, just read it line by line and then tell them why this, for your sake, that you believe this is the better team.
I was about to paint an incredibly vivid picture for the listeners, but you're right. I'll read it line by line. So on the back line, we have Nick Newman, Jacob Wiedering, Zach Tui, Sam Doherty, Liam Jones, and Adam Sard. Unbelievably solid defense there. We've got Simo and Campo on the wings. My midfield is Tom De Koning, Cripper, Murph, and Gibbs. Forward line, we've got Harry and Charlie as the two big talls. Brad Fisher and Nick Dygan as my medium marking types, and Eddie Betts and Jesse Motlop at their feet. Unbelievable. Listen to this for an inch change. Brett Ratton, Andrew Carazzo, Nick Stevens, and Lockie Henderson. And just to make it even sweeter, it's time for the first sub of the game. Brett Ratton yells out to Brett Ratton, sub on, mate. It just feels right.
We're bringing on a 50-year-old Brett Ratton switch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did I mention that? Yeah, 28-year-old Brett Ratton is the coach. All right. Do you want to read yours?
Yeah. I feel free to pitch your team now. You've read it out. Pitch.
No. You go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead because I'm gonna play into it.
Okay. So my team. We're reading from the back line. We've got Heath Scotland, Stephen Silvani, Brett Thornton, Chris Yarran, Michael Jamison, and Big McKay to rattle it out. Then in the midfield, I got Akers and Craig Bradley on my wings. Cruiser in the ruck with Judd, Cooter, and Walshy. How good is that? Forward line is Houlihan, Waite, Walker, Lappin, Favola, Garlett. And then on my bench, I've got Wiggins to go into that defense. I've got Whitnell to go into that forward line if you even need to use him. And then the midfield to rattle it out is Adam Chera and Georgie Hewitt with the big man, Michael Voss, as the coach. And hey, if he needs to sub in, if that's going to be a thing you're going to introduce at the end, why not get one of the greatest AFL players and captains of all time?
Fair enough, mate. Okay, I think for me, I want listeners right now, close your eyes. Make sure that you're in a safe space to do so. But I'm just going to...
Please, if you're driving, keep them open. Keep them open.
Pull over when safe to do so. And then close your eyes and just kind of come on this little journey with me. Because there's 30 seconds left in, I want to say the grand final of Lockie versus Ian. The back line, I've already told you how solid it is. We're not going to worry about them in this 30-second play because the ball is not going anywhere near them. The ball goes up. Tom De Koning in the ruck against Matty Cruiser. I'm sorry. But Tom De Koning is going to jump straight on his shoulders, taps it straight down. Options are plenty. Do you want Cripper, Murph, or Gibbs to get the clearance? 3 clearance machines. Campo and Simo are on the wings, ready for the outlet, ready to take it forward. And I'm sorry, but you guys have seen what it's like when you've got prime 2021 Harry and prime 2023 Kerno leading in opposite directions. It's just carnage. Ball into the forward line. Maybe the greatest fullback of all time, Stephen Silvani, gets a fist on it. Sure. But who do you want at the feet? It's Eddie Betts kicking a snag to win the grand final. And Brett Ratton's holding up the cup.
Gee, it's an interesting pitch. Interesting pitch. Look, I almost don't need to say anything. The team just speaks for itself. But what I really like about mine is I haven't necessarily just thought about the superstars. There's plenty in that team. Don't try to quote me on that one. The thing I've also tried to put in this is we're playing a game, Lockie. This is an actual team. I've gone for guys that can play together, for guys that make sense to be in this team, an all well-rounded, oiled machine. And that's just what I see with this. There's so much versatility. There is so many players that just dominate in their position. You've got Stephen Silvani. Doesn't matter if it's his last year. Absolute gun. Can still do a job in defense. Michael Jamison, probably one of the better top 2 best defenders we've seen while being alive here. To nail it down, Yaron running off the halfback, McKay just streaming forward. There's so much to love in this team. The ball use is there. Scotland, Houlihan. It's got match winners, Akers, Judd. Honestly, I just feel like my midfield really does win it for me with Cruiser, Judd, Kuda. And then I've got guys like Walshy. I've got Chera, some pace. I just feel like you're one-dimensional a little bit with Carazzo, Stevens, Cripper. Oh, what's going on there? You need something else. And really, the big winner for me and why I think my team just really is better is that forward line for me. Yeah, you've got Charlie, but I've got Fev. You've got Harry, suspect. I've got Jared Waite. And then I think really suspect. You've got Eddie Betts, and I'll happily put my hand up and say, yeah, he's probably better than my smalls. But I would then say that Houlihan, Walker, Lappin, and Garlett are all better than your next small forward. And that's it. I don't have to just rely on 2 keys in my forward line. You can spread it out. And that's what is what this forward line is going to do. We've got the guys who are winning the ball, and Houlihan is just going to stream that ball into the forward line. And he's just got so many targets there. And Michael Voss leading them. Who else would you possibly want?
That's the one pick that I'll give you. The one pick that you did better than me. I agree. Vossy, I am jealous. But fair pitch, mate.
And this is the thing. My biased hat off. I think both of these teams are very good. It's going to be interesting to see who gets the win. We've talked enough trash. It's time for us to put that aside and let the people, let the listeners, let the viewers decide. If you're watching on YouTube, firstly, get that subscribe so you never miss an episode. We have plenty of preseason content that will be uploaded onto this channel. Make sure if you've enjoyed it, chuck it a like and drop a comment. Most importantly, whose team is better? Is it Lockie's? Is it Ian's? Let us know. And then if you're in podcast form, again, follow so you never miss an episode wherever you're listening. Then head over to the socials at Navy Blue Corner. You don't have to search for it. It's in the show notes. Just it's a click away to wherever you interact with us. Let us know. We'll make some posts up showing you the teams, trying to collate these votes. And I'm sure by next week, when we have a very, very special episode, we are going to be doing a Guess the 22 episode. So it's another one of these fun little episodes before we get into the serious content where Lockie is going to find a game similar from this period, 2001 to 2024. And I have to guess the team. I get 3 chances at selecting a player that wasn't there before I am kicked out. Lockie will do the same with the team that I have selected. And it basically comes down to who can pick the most players before getting kicked out of it. That will be next week. But make sure this week you let us know whose team was better. And that is really going to wrap this episode up. It's been a fun one. Hope you've enjoyed. We will see you next time. Up the bloody baggers.